And I need to start looking out, and hospitality is not just reciprocating friendship with friends. I want to be able to invite more random people or people from my church that I don't know well, maybe people that I don't necessarily feel like I would click with, or like we have a lot in common. And just, I think it's really hard to be hosting, doing cooking and things like that, and then also trying to facilitate a conversation and all of that stuff.
I do think it could be an awesome ministry to open your home.
Yeah, and not everyone is necessarily called to that either. And also there's seasons. Like if you just had a baby like a month or two ago, good grief, like calm down. You'll have time for that again. I haven't had people over in the last little bit, and I'm just so excited to do it again. But I'm not feeling guilty about it because I know I will make up for it. I'll be making up for lost time. It was just a season we were in. We were trying to get the grass to grow before we had people come out. Maybe that was just an excuse. I don't know. But, it ebbs and flows, and don't put that guilt on yourself. I've done homemaking now for 10 years. And so I've seen the seasons come and go. And it's like kind of a pattern.
Today I had the pleasure of interviewing Megan from Megan Fox Unlocked. I have really enjoyed having a online friendship or knowledge of each other since we only had 1 or 2 kids apiece. And it's been really fun to watch our families grow as we've grown together through the years. We get to talk about time management today. We get to talk about home management. Those are 2 of my favorite things to talk about. We've actually been implementing Megan's water bottle system that you guys will hear in this episode for the last couple weeks. And that's been amazing for eliminating cups on our counter. Elisha kind of has a problem with it because the kids always need to go to the bathroom.
I had a problem for the first 2 or 3 days because the kids were so excited. They were drinking way more water than what they needed and needed to go to the bathroom like every 12 minutes. So we'd get in the car and they needed to go to the bathroom. We'd get to the park, they need to go to the bathroom. We'd get to the restaurant, they need to go to the bathroom. So it wasn't the best experience for me early on.
Elisha's just a unicorn, and that he never makes it inconvenient for anyone to have to use the restroom. As far as you will hold it for hours so that you don't have to inconvenience someone.
Oh, got it.
I actually need to go right now, so we need to finish.
Okay, got it. All this potty talk, I tell you what.
Stop, Elisha. Anyways, you are going to enjoy this episode. We also have something else we want to talk to you about, though, as we sit here sweating. What is that, Elisha?
Okay, so the Growth Initiative is now open for enrollment. The fall session is going to be beginning here in a few weeks, and you can find the dates below, and you can register for a call slot that works for your particular schedule. The Growth Initiative is a 6-week live program, okay? So you're either in the program for that 6 weeks or you're not in the program. You've got a few weeks now to sign up, and the cool thing about the Growth Initiative is, one, this is going on our third year now doing this. Over 200 men have been through the program. I love this program every time because I get to grow each and every time with the men through the Growth Initiative. So I'm really looking forward to this. And also, there is a special discount when you buy the Growth Initiative with what, Katie?
Yeah, the Get It All Done Club. So a lot of you know that the Get It All Done Club is my home management program for mothers. It's something I'm super passionate about. When I had 3 children, they were 2.5 and under. I needed systems. I needed routines. I needed a home flow that was going to allow me to get the stuff done that I didn't want to do, that was repetitive, that was taking all my time. I needed to do that really efficiently so I could have the time to do what I really wanted to do. Since then, thousands of mothers have gone through the Get It All Done Club, and I love being able to help women just stop drowning in motherhood and be able to start thriving in motherhood. And that's what the Get It All Done Club is all about. So we have an incredible community that is off of social media, where it's just like-minded Christian women that are able to share resources that they have or share struggles that they have. And I love being able to get on with you guys in the Get It All Done Club once a quarter and be able to go live and talk through pain points in our lives and kind of group source solutions for those pain points. It's a really fun way to connect with a community that is like-minded if you don't have a ton of people in your area that are currently pursuing or valuing the things that the Lord has placed on your heart. So what's exciting about this is if you want to grow as a couple, then we offer a special discount. That's our couples package if you purchase the Get It All Done Club and the Growth Initiative at the same time.
Yeah, so there's a couple webinars that you can watch below if you'd like to learn more about the Growth Initiative or more about the Get It All Done Club. Also, here's the deal. If you are already part of the Get It All Done Club, keep an eye in your inbox. Keep an eye in that inbox because you'll also be receiving, not also, another little discount that you get is a coupon code if you're already part of the Get It All Done Club. Boy, that made so much sense.
I hope that makes sense for you guys. Yes, but I do want to give you guys a discount if your husbands are wanting to participate in the growth initiative, if you've already joined me in the Get It All Done Club. But the greatest discount that you will get are during the weeks, which we only do 3 weeks a year, where the growth initiative and the Get It All Done Club are on sale together as a couples package. So this is the last time we're opening this up before the end of the year. Hope you guys check it out. And let's get into that interview with Megan Fox.
The Now That We're a Family podcast.
Megan, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast with me today. I'm excited to talk to you about time management because I'm always looking for more inspiration in that area of life and motherhood. I think a lot of our audience is already familiar with you, but for those who are not, can you tell us who Megan is, Megan Fox Unlocked, and kind of what you do online and in person right now?
Yes. Well, my name is Megan Fox, and I live in a very busy area of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's full of Mennonites and Amish. I am a Mennonite, and it's just a very bustling, busy place. And I like to be busy. I'm not one of those people that just sits down too much. And if I do, then I come up with another harebrained idea I want to try. And I guess it's a character flaw and also a strength in some ways. So I'm really passionate about this topic, but I'm going to definitely have to come on here and say I definitely do not have it all figured out. That's for sure. I have 3 kids, 5, 4, and still 1 yet, not quite 2. This fall, he'll have his birthday. So yeah, a girl and 2 boys. So a little bit behind you in that stage of life, but I think I might actually be slightly older than you, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel where people of all ages really tune in, and that always intimidates me because I feel like, what can I teach the older generation? I don't know, but mostly I speak to moms. There's a lot of young moms on my channel, and I think we just hang out together for the camaraderie. And also, I'd like to throw in tips and things that I'm learning in real life and in real time for everyone to, we just kind of hang out together. And I like to do a lot of homemaking content and just share what life's like in Lancaster County, and maybe also to break down some of the misconceptions of the Mennonite lifestyle. It's not as weird as it sounds at first.
Yeah, you've done a really good job of that. I know I've learned a lot following your channel. I think that the first time we talked or reached, I'm like thinking back, and I don't know if we had both had 2 kids or both had 1 kid, but it was in the very beginning stages of our motherhood when we did like a YouTube collaboration a long time ago back in the day. And since then, you really took off with YouTube, and I've started and stopped like 4 times. But
yes, you've gone in other directions.
Yeah, exactly. But I do love your videos, and I think you just I feel like people could really get to know you on your videos, and that you're very open and friendly, and I think people feel like they know you right away, regardless of how much they actually do. Yeah, it's like
I do, like with my channel, I like to show more so than tell, but I do have a podcast as well with my cousin Jana. We're cousins. We're practically the same person, but very, very opposite in some ways too. It's called Honey, I'm Homemaker, and on there we talk a little bit more. And I just love that format. I love being on podcasts and stuff because that's the kind of thing I like to consume while I'm being productive at the same time. So podcasts, that should go on our productivity list of things. Gives you companionship while you're getting stuff done.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to like just sit down and listen to it. You could just keep it running in the background. I love that about podcasts. And I love the name of your podcast, Honey, I'm Homemaker. Like when I saw that, I was like, that is so cute. Did it take you a long time to come up with that, or no?
Did you get it? Like the whole reference, Honey, I'm Home, or whatever.
Yeah,
not everybody
absolutely.
Understood. Like, where's the comma? Where's the A at? Or I'm a homemaker. Anyway. So yeah, no, it just like popped into my head one day, and my cousin's like, that's it. So
oh yeah, it's super clever. I love it. Okay, so jumping into time management, you've got 3 little kids, you have an online business, you do a podcast, lots of things. You're also super social. I feel like that's a big aspect, or like hospitable, of the Mennonite culture, or I don't know if it's just what I see online, but it seems like you guys prioritize getting together more than some people would. So what does kind of your work schedule look like with the kids right now?
Well, it's kind of ebbed and flowed over the years, as has the hosting and that element. It comes and goes. There's different seasons, and I think most mothers understand that. But right now, the way I'm doing it with my platforms and my YouTube, Instagram, all of that, I mostly work on that from 2 to 5. That's where my kids are right now. They're upstairs napping. I have a 5-year-old she usually takes a nap. She'll be down much sooner than the rest. But they do all fall asleep. It's such a blessing. And I get work done. It's like my no guilt time. And if my daughter comes down early, she knows that it's mommy's work time. And, I can set her up with an audiobook or something like that. But it's from 2 to 5. I'm in the zone. I don't have to feel guilty about it. I cannot do, I'm opening my notes here just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I cannot do YouTube simultaneously with motherhood life. It does not work. I get impatient with my children. I'm not as productive. I drop the ball on things, and I really just need to have like a dedicated office time. And so that's 3 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. I do not want to work on Saturdays, but it often works out that way. And then depending on how our schedule is or what I'm filming, sometimes I'll do a more complicated video or something. And then I'll maybe sometimes have to tap my husband, Josh, on the shoulder and be like, hey, Thursday night, you want to like watch the kids and, take them to the hardware store and stuff. He always has stuff he's got to do, and he'll just take the kids with him. And I'll have like an hour or two to myself in the evening to try to get some last minute things tied up or stuff like that. So that's been a good buffer. And as well as mornings. But I will say this summer, I've been trying to enjoy the sleeping in era because my daughter goes back to school again in the fall. And we do send her, she'll be in first grade. We do send her to a Mennonite. It's like a traditional school, but it's Mennonite. And so it's 5 days a week. And it's a good option for us, but it's not perfect. She is going to be gone, and it's those early mornings and stuff. So when she's back in school again, I'll probably get a lot more things done in the morning after I send her off on the bus. But that's kind of why you ask what my work schedule looks like. That's pretty much when I do work. I try not to be on my phone too much. I'll put an Instagram reel up maybe at like 2:30 in the afternoon or something. And then I won't check Instagram again usually till evening. So it's not like I'm super like live, on any one space.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's cool that you have 3 hours. I feel like, or 3, 4, 5, 2 hours.
2 to 5 is 3 hours.
3 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's solid. And all your kiddos, they rest during that time. And
yeah, the 1-year-old sleeps most of that time. And then the 4 and the 5-year-old are old enough when they get up and come down, they can occupy themselves safely. And, they're in the other room or whatever.
That is awesome. Yeah, that you have that and you're able to, I do think that's a big thing with motherhood. It's easier to just segregate the work hours and the motherhood hours. And sometimes when you work from home, it sounds appealing to try to do it all at one time. And then that's where it gets really stressful.
And some people work that way really well. I have a cousin who has a successful stationery and photo card business, graphic design and stuff. And she does it throughout the day. And it works for her. It really does. But YouTube and editing is such an immersive experience. I really can't be doing much else when I'm doing that.
Yeah. And I found that with YouTube, I would try to do it all together. And then I don't know, it just stopped working at a certain age with my kids. Like it worked when they were little to be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing in the morning. I'm filming in the morning and then I'm editing in the afternoon or whatever. And it wasn't a big deal. And then I don't know, they hit like 4 or 5 and all of a sudden they like cared that I was doing all that during the day. And it was like, okay, this is no longer working out. So anyways, that's awesome though that you have that schedule because you're able to get a lot of work done during the week with just that segregated time and having those office hours.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay. So baking, how do you find time to bake? I feel like you're always sharing new recipes and like these involved meals.
Oh, no. It's summertime right now. We eat very simply in the summer. It's just like veggies and grilling, most of the time. But yes, I do enjoy baking, but this question made me laugh because I feel like baking is so unnecessary. Like if you want to do it, you will find the time. And if you don't want to do it, you're fine. Like life will go on. It's totally fine if you cannot find time to bake. So I don't know who out there thinks like, don't feel guilty about that. Feel guilty about something else. But yeah, as far as like baking. I enjoy it. It's nice to have something in the freezer. Like you said, we'll often, especially in the summertime, we'll often get invited places last minute or decide to get together with friends at a park or something. And then, it's nice to have some baked goods in your freezer. We don't go through them super fast ourselves. My husband used to like eat a whoopie pie or a cookie with his coffee in the morning, but he's not doing that so much right now in the summer. And yeah, I guess for me, baking is very relaxing. And so I get excited to do it. And I also sometimes just do it around my kids. Like most of the time, I would say I do it with my children around. And that is a muscle and a skill that I feel all mothers need to start exercising as young as possible, because life will be so different and so much better if your children know like to either let you alone or be involved. Yeah, they can learn so much by watching you work and helping with all that. So, of course, baking is so hands-on. Most of the time, they're just there trying to get the chocolate chips or whatever. But that's not quite as relaxing. But it's a task that I enjoy. And so I don't put it at the top of my list, but I like to have a lot of baking ingredients, you can keep on hand. It's like, oh, I'm craving this. I'll keep that on hand. I'll make it the next time I get the chance, something like that. So, yeah, it's just like in little pockets of time here. I don't do big baking days or anything either. It's usually like a 2-hour process, and you can kind of get other things done at the same time depending what it is. I made cakes for my children's birthdays. They're never like show stopping or anything, but it's fun and they enjoy being involved in the process.
Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about our online music academy called VotebergMusicAcademy.com. Katie and I actually started this online music academy 7 years ago, and over that time we've been able to see thousands of students go through our courses and learn how to play the guitar, the mandolin, the fiddle, the piano, the ukulele, and bring music into their home. And we really curated these lessons so that you're able to learn with your child, or you're able to learn by yourself and then bring music into your home and play with your kiddos. We even have it so that you can, subscribe to one course and have 3 of your kids take the same course. So it's really cost effective and you're able to go at your own pace and bring music into your home. Go to VotebergMusicAcademy.com and check this out. Okay, listen up. This is where it gets really good. If you enter the coupon code YouTube at checkout, you will get 10% off each month's payment, because it's a subscription. It's a reoccurring payment. So if you put that code in, then it's 10% off each month. So, that can really add up over time. So bring some music into your family's home. Go over to VotebergMusicAcademy.com. I'll link it below. And you guys put in that coupon code and go learn how to play some piano, guitar, fiddle, mandolin, ukulele, your choice.
That is awesome. I love that you bake cakes for your kids' birthdays. I did that one time this year, and I didn't know how to add the food coloring in. And so it turned out like fluorescent pink. Like it was worst looking, like least tasteful cake I've ever seen in my life.
It was probably very kid friendly. You were like,
yeah,
yay.
exactly.
I'm sure that food dye was coursing through their system for a while.
Yeah, it was not good. My husband's like, we could just like buy a cake or do ice cream next time. He wasn't like stoked about it.
Oh, another thing I thought of was if you do have a pocket of time and you don't necessarily want to bake, but you have your mixer out already or something, make the dough, put it in balls and put that in the freezer, and you can have warm, fresh cookies, when somebody comes over. Or if you're I love to make apple pie, especially coming up here in the fall, make 2 crusts and put the one in the freezer. And then when you want to have the other one, you can just make the filling then, kind of like batch. You do all these things. So yeah, that type of thing.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Because I'm curious how, it's always good to hear how other people do that and can batch their work, or kind of be like, I can't make cookies. That's something I need to learn how to do.
Yeah. But I would view like cooking and canning and stuff like that almost like an art project. Like it's fun. It's like, let's see what happens. It's not like the end of the world if it doesn't work out. Although sometimes it feels that way depending on how much time you've invested. But yeah, it's more of like, it's not the necessity. So don't stress out if you're not having much time to bake. You'll maybe get to that season. If that's something you want to prioritize, it'll happen at some point.
And I like how you point that out too, that it's kind of like if you enjoy it, then you'll find the time to do it, instead of being like, oh, believe it or not, we get a lot of comments of people saying like, I don't know how to bake, or I don't have time to bake. And they do feel guilty about it. They feel bad about it. I feel like because of the rise of sourdough, maybe.
Bread baking.
Bread baking. It's kind of become this like skill that you feel you should have, maybe. And And so it's interesting to hear how I feel like women are feeling insecure in that area, where you're right. It's like, this is a hobby project. That's why people get into it. It's fun and it's rewarding. And if it's stressing you out, then leave it for another time.
And I can feel that too. I myself have made the active choice right now to say no to sourdough, just because I feel like I can't handle another pet or like another system or routine on top of the ones I already have going. I would love to at some point, and like all these sourdough homesteaders make it look so like appealing and like it's almost like more godly to make your own bread, you know. But I would say if you are busy and you don't really have time, I was just thinking about this as we were talking here. If you don't have time to bake bread, then your time is very valuable, especially if it's filled with, you know, productive things for your family, and, you know, self-care has a place as well. But, you know, not that you're sitting on your phone all day scrolling on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? But if you're busy so that you can't make time to bake bread, even though you want to, that means your time is valuable. And so it might actually be more financially responsible to just go buy the $7 sourdough at the farmer's market or whatever, feed your family the good ingredients once in a while, but you don't have to necessarily be doing it with your own hands either.
I love that. That's good. It's so true. Delegation is a big thing. Sometimes you have to be like, you know what? I'd rather earn the money and spend the money over here than do it all myself. Absolutely. Okay. So what are your top 3 home management systems?
Okay. I guess what immediately sorry, that was an unladylike sigh. I think what first came to my mind would be we're a very happening, busy, go-getter family. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but we pretty much leave the house almost every day. Not that my children are not in any sports or not really any organized anything. I used to be part of like a MOPS group, not really part of that anymore, but it's just like there's errands to run. I have family close by. There's swimming to do in the summer. There's so many reasons to take us out of our home, and I personally enjoy that. And so some of these tips here are going to kind of revolve around that kind of a lifestyle. So I'll say the reason I've chosen that did I choose it for my family or did it just kind of happen to us? But it's so nice to like set apart your day in different segments. I feel like if you have the children just at home working, like my morning section is usually if I'm home, you know, like I have a birthday party to go to. My friend's turning 30 tomorrow. So they're going to my aunt for the day. And so that day is going to look different, but I'll just speak in general terms. In the morning, I'm trying to get my housework done and maybe like one special project or organizing one, you know, closet or drawer or something else. I don't know. We'll see. Depends how much energy or how much laundry I have or that type of thing. So I'll do that in the morning, and the kids are kind of underfoot helping out. They have their morning chores and stuff too. But then if I can get done by 11:30, 12 o'clock, or whatever, we'll eat lunch, and our reward is to either, you know, we might go on a walk or go biking or run the errands or do those type of things over that segment of the day. Maybe we'll be swimming, something like that. So putting that in context, that would be my one tip that I think saves some sanity. And I think that works good for busy moms who have a lot of errands to run and things like that. And it also works for those moms that feel like the days are so long and like, what can we do to occupy our children? And breaking your day up by getting out of the house, whether it's first thing in the morning or, you know, maybe weather depending, you would pick a different time of day, just breaking that up and getting outdoors. So that's my one tip that I really like, but that's not necessarily home management. It's just kind of a framework. And now the next tips that I share will make more sense now that you understand that. So one of my favorite, did you call them homemaking routines or?
Yeah, home management systems, homemaking routines, that works.
Is in the morning. That looks the same every day pretty much. I get up, I'm up before the children or whatever, but I get them up at 8:30, which some people are like blown away. How do they sleep in that late? I would love to make a video or a podcast on how I get my children to sleep so much, because they are good sleepers, but like we're also busy when we're awake. So that's a whole nother topic for another time. I don't want to get too long-winded, but I get them up at 8:30 and they get dressed. This is the 5 and the 4-year-old, you know, and they are supposed to collect all their dirty laundry. And because I feel like in the evenings, I'm so done or like I'm not necessarily at the top of my game. And so like they'll be taking their clothes off, putting their nightie on. Everything's just hitting the floor, you know. So in the morning, we collect all the dirty laundry from all the rooms. They get their water bottles. They go downstairs and fill those up, or any sippy cups or anything that collected upstairs throughout the day. We throw in the wash basket. So everything's in the wash basket, the dirty laundry, all that stuff. And we just tidy up the whole upstairs, do like a sweep, not a sweep, we sweep through the rooms to make sure everything is picked up. Not necessarily vacuuming or anything. And then, I take that all downstairs. I bring it over to our laundry and I'll be like sorting out the laundry and the kids will be there. Okay, take this book over here. Here's the cup. They know what to do. And they're just like running back and forth and everything's put away in like 45 seconds. So I don't know if I should come up with like a catchy name for that, I guess. But no, it's just something we do every morning and it works really well. You just know how I have a 2-story home, I guess. So things just happen to get in the wrong places a lot. So if we do that all at once, we shouldn't have to go upstairs at all until, nap time.
That is great. Yeah. So you're just starting off with this fresh, clean slate. I totally relate with you as far as like, I don't want to be on top of the kids in the evening when we're wrapping things up. It's like, you know what? Just get in your bed, go to sleep.
Yes. Yes.
Time to be done. It's not like I have all this patience to teach you these great skills and all those things. It's better done in the morning. And they're so fresh in the morning. You're avoiding meltdowns and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like, okay. And then you're able to keep your whole upstairs fresh and clean.
Somewhat picked up.
Yeah, which is huge. It's little sweeps like that, little routines like that. I feel like that make all the difference between having a messy house that's a pile and not. And it doesn't sound that life-changing, but it is. It's like, it's the little things that make a huge difference. And I love too what you were saying about dividing your day up into certain chunks. Makes your day go so much faster. Like you said, it also makes you more productive because you're able to focus on one thing at a time. And then it breaks the day up for the kids too. So stuff stays fresh and they aren't arguing or bickering or just like making messes because they're outside during this part of the day or you're going on errands. I feel like because I don't have the car, we don't really do errands, but we do get on our bikes and, we're out at a park for 2 hours or, like we're gone.
It's amazing. I think you have such tenacity in that department. I don't last super long at parks. But yeah, if I would read or something, maybe I have they're pretty self-sufficient. Like if I take them to the playground, they can pretty much play by themselves, but I don't know. I guess I just like to be moving and active. So I'm usually chasing them around or pushing them on the swing or something.
And you still have a 1-year-old, which is different. I feel like by the time they hit like 2.5, which is where Lawrence is, or 2.
Okay.
I mean, he's pretty big at that point. So
that's true.
A 1-year-old does take a lot more. Like they want you to engage with them, watch them go down the slide. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So keep going though.
I think did I give you 2 of them yet?
Yes.
So I talked about our wash basket system in the mornings and I talked about going away every day. That was actually one of the points that I wanted to make sure I brought up. Like that's just kind of how we shape our day a little bit. It's not a schedule, but it's a routine. I actually have a planner that I designed. I think it might still be in stock, but I actually have it designed in 3 time blocks, which is like the morning work period time and then my side hustle time in the middle and then my evening time, that type of thing. So that's just how my brain frameworks my day, like we were talking about. And then I was trying to think of something that I might not have shared too specifically on lately or, something a little different. And I thought of the water bottle system, which I'm sure a lot of you moms do. But if you don't, like, it is so life-changing. It's not how I was raised. We just grabbed a cup every time we wanted to drink and there was tons of them on the counter. But just Ivani left hers here. She just brought it down from her nap. But grab water bottles for each of your kids and their morning routine that they're supposed to do is get up, get dressed, brush their teeth, fill their water bottle for the day. And then they water some plants this time of year. They have plants that they need to water and, stuff like that. But getting that done for the day is so wonderful. And then, we're ready to go away, in our afternoon or mid-morning afternoon time and they grab their water bottles. They take those along. They know how to refill them. We do have a fridge that has like a easy access ice and all that. So yeah, we love our ice water around here. But yeah, it's a super awesome system and it really, really cuts down on stuff. I like the Simple Modern brand on Amazon. They have so many different colors and the kids get to, pick and they feel like they're important because they got to pick it. I think these are 12 ounces, maybe not quite 16. I'm not sure, but that's a nice size for the kids. And it goes at, mostly halfway through the day. And I'm a big proponent of water drinking. And I'm especially like, when you think of all the sicknesses that go around in the winter and stuff, flushing things out with water is always a good thing. And then maybe you have a child you're trying to potty train, get those fluids in. I don't know, like the water bottle system is just golden. I do it for myself. We go away and yeah, we all have our water bottles. And if that feels like a lot, maybe I only have 3 children. Some of you, I don't know what you're going to learn from me. Those of you that have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, I should learn from you. But if you have that many kids, maybe you just want to have more of a communal, like larger thermos type one or something when you go away. But yeah, I love the water bottle system.
That is so good. I wrote it down on the back of my paper.
And doesn't apply to everyone, but it's golden.
No, but it should, because the more kids you have, the more you end up with those 20 cups on the counter. It's annoying. And then when you do need a cup, there's never one in the cupboard. And I love it. Like, I'm totally going to do this. I do this for myself. I carry around a water bottle and I drink it all the time. And then what ends up happening is I just end up giving it to all my kids. And that drives me nuts because I try to track my water intake. So yes. I really, really love this.
And I will say the goal is, or the best tip I would say is get everybody one, and they're all their own color. And then when it gets lost, you find it again, because that's your only option, you know, like that's your water bottle. If you just have like a bunch, like with sippy cups, when I was in the sippy cup era, I just had, 20 different sippy cups, and they'd fly around and you'd find, spoiled milk sippy cups in the car and stuff like that. And so I've learned, like with the water bottle system, they're expensive enough, they're heavy duty enough. Like, we lose it, we find it before we can go about the rest of our day, or they take them to bed with them in the evening too. But it's just water, so it's not exciting. They don't just sit there and drink it. It's not been a problem so far. I don't really have bedwetters, but yeah.
No, that is key. That's what separates it from that's what makes it a system. Is because there's just one of them. Like you said, if you just have a cupboard full of sippy cups, you have the same issue as if you have a cupboard full of glass cups or whatever. And sippy cup cupboards are the worst.
I'm finally exiting that stage a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to get rid of all of these. Miller is big enough for his own water bottle, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm the worst in that I just don't have them. And then like every time our babysitter will come over or something, she'll be like, oh, a cup broke. And I'm like, don't feel bad about it. That's just what we do. I'd rather deal with a broken, mason jar cup than deal with all the sippy cups, because they drive me nuts. That is really good. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter like how many kids you have. Because there's families with 10 kids that don't have much figured out. They're just living life by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you come to someone who has 3 kids that has thought through something, and you're like, wow, I think it just applies. It could take off more stress to a family that has a lot of kids to hear one good idea, because immediately you apply it and it makes life so easy. Spark.
It's like it's a two-edged sword. You feel so dumb on the one side, like, why didn't I do this sooner? And the other side, it's like a whole world has opened up and a new thing. So I love, once in a great while, you get a golden tip that works for you specifically, and it's wonderful. So
yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that one. I think that's fantastic. Okay. Do you have to let anything drop to keep up with the most important things?
Yes. Yes, so much. And some things I feel great about, some things I feel a little bit of mom guilt about, but for the most part, it's just like there's different seasons and we can always reevaluate. So like some of those things, just thinking of this summer, I'm not doing a lot of canning. I want to do something just so I know that I still know how to can, but I don't do a lot of canning right now or preserving, except I'll do some random things in the freezer. I don't have a garden at all this year. I do have herbs and 1 pepper plant and 1 tomato plant, but they're all in pots. So no garden this year. Josh is all on board for that. He doesn't think that should ever change. He's like, we live in the land of produce stands. Why would you not just go support the local farmer? It's way more efficient that way. But I think at some point when my children need more, work and outdoor things to do, activities and things like that, I definitely want to teach them to work. We only have 2 acres, so we'll have to get a little creative. And I think a garden might be in the future, but it's not going to be on my plate as much, at least if I'm continuing to have a side hustle and all of that. Oh man. I have my sister who comes and helps me clean. She's only here for about 2 hours, and she also watches the children, makes them breakfast and stuff too. So the amount of cleaning she does isn't a ton, but it's so wonderful. Like, she helps me get on top of things again. And I just love that. So, I feel a little bit of mom guilt sometimes. Like, I have somebody cleaning my house while I'm sitting here editing on my computer or whatever, but I remind myself it's the big picture. It's the big picture. It's not just like what's happening in these 10 minutes here. And like the kids love it too. Yeah, I'm not sewing as much as I would like to. I would have so many crafts and hobbies and things that I would have my fingers in if I didn't have a side hustle, but I would definitely be bouncing around a lot, I think. Like definitely having like a singular goal and vision makes me more productive and makes more happen in the long run, I think. So yes, of course, there's things that, to answer the question, yes, absolutely. And it's not like I don't have to feel bad because it might not be like that forever, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do think there's an element of delegation in motherhood that is so helpful and so needed, and you can just get a lot more done. It's not like we have to have our fingers in every single thing that goes on with managing our homes, especially if, you're doing something outside of that. And it's like, I don't know. I always come back to like the Proverbs 31 woman, and it says like she gives a portion to her maidens. And I'm like, she was delegating stuff out to someone, it wasn't like she was the one gal that did everything, And
I never thought of that. I guess something else that I sometimes can feel guilty about is, well, if I don't teach my daughter, who will, And so I think I do a little bit of canning and a little bit of sewing and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm like, if she ever really latches on to one thing, I'll definitely pour into that a little bit more and try to make that something we can do together, or because, there's nothing better than a hobby that's also productive too. So if there ever comes a time where there's something like that, we'll definitely have to jump on board. Something else I don't do right now, and I definitely feel guilty about it sometimes, is I don't do any scrapbooking for my kids at the moment. I make them a little book like once they're 6 months old or something with all their baby pictures. And I just have tons and tons of pictures in my Google Drive, and I don't know, but then Josh is always like, well, think of all the videos they can watch of themselves. And like, I have no videos of myself as a child. So you give and you take, I guess.
Oh my goodness, Megan, that is the least of your worries. Like if that's the most of your worries, I guess don't worry about it. Scrapbooking. I'm impressed that you have a 6-month-old book of baby pictures. Like I am the worst in this digital age. It's so hard to actually, like, we take all these pictures, right? And then it's hard to actually, yeah, exactly. They're just like gone. Or I had so many photos on my old iPhone, and when I switched it over, I didn't back it up or whatever. And so they're just like gone. I documented our first 2 kids' years of life, and I have like a few pictures of them. So anyways, I guess I'm convicted too. I'm like, well, I should get some things in hardcover, like physical copies, because it just goes out the window. But they do love watching old vlogs. I think they love that way more than looking at pictures of themselves. So now I just need to worry about like the last couple that we have, because there's like no documentation of them.
It gets worse. It does. It really does.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I love that. I love that you have so many hobbies and so many things interest you. And that's the thing, is your daughter's going to pick up on that, and she'll just be able to learn a ton of things, I feel like, with that curious mindset, regardless of whether you are hands-on teaching her how to do the actual skill or not.
Yeah. So if you're a mom out there that's not like the garden mom or the seamstress, or whatever, you're just like a Jill of all trades or whatever, that's fine too. Like we can't all be like the expert on just one thing. And I think that used to bother me, but it's okay. Who are we trying to impress? We're trying to mother our families, and that's what really matters.
Yeah, and exposing them to a ton of things, like what a gift that is. And then they can be like, oh, this is really my interest, and take it a certain way. I don't know. I think there's a lot of
true. I didn't really think of that, but yeah, you're right.
Benefit of that too. Okay, so we talked a little bit about hosting in the beginning, or we touched on it, but we didn't really go into it. How do you find time for friends, socializing, hospitality, all that stuff?
Well, we're very blessed to live in close proximity to many friends, all of our family currently. I think the furthest away a family member would live is about an hour's drive. So there's definitely a lot of reasons to stay connected, because it's easy, right? It should happen. And you ask how I find time for it.
Yeah,
I guess if other people are finding time, it's a culture thing too. Maybe, if somebody had you over, at some point you should reciprocate. And I think when we were younger, we did a lot more things together outside of our homes, because there wasn't a herd of children with us. We'd go to, I'm just trying to even think here, go to the Barnstormers softball game, local softball game, or, go out and spend money, do things. And it's become a little more low key over the years, just with so many children. And I think I'm also at the point of time where it's like, oh, I can't have all 7 of my youth group friends over at once. That's 14 adults and like 30 children. It's just too much. And it's taken me a while to realize that. Last summer, I feel like I had lots of big groups over, which is great because you hit a lot of birds with one stone. And I love being invited to big things like that because there's so much people you can talk with and friends of friends and acquaintances and stuff like that. I really enjoy being invited to those, but it's not always, it's sometimes really scary and overwhelming to actually host an event like that. So I think this summer I'm trying to pull away from that a little bit more and just, maybe have 2 families over or something like that. And I did mention families. So that makes it a lot easier to socialize when your whole family is friends, the children are friends, the husband, the wife, we can all socialize together. It's not like I'm home with the children and Josh is golfing he does that too. And I'll have my girls, like tomorrow we have a ladies' day. So I think that helps to get more socializing in as well when it's a whole family activity. I'm a big believer that friendship should add to your family life, not take away. So everybody has to find that balance, obviously. But as far as I'm trying to think of any like practical tips to make hosting easier, definitely just having some go-to recipes that you're confident with and are crowd pleasers. That's great. I would love to be one of those women that's like famous for something specific. Like I guess among my family, they all know they love my apple pie and I don't know, there's random stuff. I make these like sour pickles, like sometimes people ask me to bring, but I'm not like the star chef or anything where I have this one, definitely bring your sourdough or bring your eclair or whatever it is. I don't really have any dishes like that, but even just having some go-tos that you can make a big batch of it. Hope's Tables mac and cheese is something I make a lot. It's just pop it in the oven for 2.5 hours, I think it is. That's a recipe. A Mennonite lady actually wrote that book. It's on Amazon. You can find it. It's called Hope's Table. She has a lot of easy recipes. Usually most of our recipes are centered around, most of our menus when we have people over are centered around the grill. That way Josh can do that. I'm not a huge crock pot girl. Oh man, my mom bought me a crock pot recipe book and I was like, I'm going to cook through this thing. And we don't eat, we like our meat and our veggies and like separate them. And yeah, anyway. And also, so I feel like there's I'm just riffing off here just as I think of things, but there's sometimes a tendency to think you have to have a lot of different dishes and courses. And that's maybe a Mennonite thing too. I don't know. I just know the traditional Mennonite cooking would have had several different sour things and salads and the meat and maybe 2 meats and a couple different starches. These are farming communities. They need their calories and their carbs. And so I think sometimes we think we have to go do that and then go above and beyond even because we're having people over. And it is fun to have variety. And I actually enjoy like cooking extra special when I have guests coming and my husband gets excited. He's like, no, why don't you make this just for us? I'm like, yes, I need to do that. Not just save it for, the special people coming over because my family is special. But where was I going with that? Oh, yes. Don't feel like you have to make every dish yourself. Like you can go out and buy butterhorn rolls at the bakery or something like that just to add to it. You don't have to. I love to bake, but there's been times where I just really don't have the time. And I will just get ice cream and, pick up some cookies somewhere or something like that. So you can still have delicious food and not be making it all yourself. Because, also another thing with that is if you do have a lot of dishes and you're trying to get them done all at the same time, that is so intimidating for anyone, let alone having like guests breathing down your throat or coming at a certain time, having several dishes done at the same time. So I try to stay off of my stovetop as much as possible in those last minutes. Like most things are prepared ahead of time. We use the crock pot to heat up, the baked beans or a sauce or something like that. We'll have potato wedges in the oven, the grill's going, but I don't have like lots of kettles. Like I think about those times we'd get invited over for Sunday lunch as a kid and the Mennonite cook is there at the kitchen. Traditional cooking would be, meat, potatoes, green beans, all that, and just getting it all done. Gravy, everything's going at once and you're salting this and doing that. And you can do that. That's great. That's a skill, but you don't have to. Like, it's not the best beginner route, if you know what I mean.
I love how your bar, like your standard is set so high for everything. Like, I'm not a gardener. I just have like a pepper plant and a tomato plant and an herb garden. Or like, I'm not a baker. I just bake X, Y, and Z. It's like, What on earth, Megan? Like, that
Wow.
qualifies you.
You've unlocked something there. Like, I see a lot of my friends who don't, like my peers, have the same amount of children and everything, who don't have the side hustle going on. And I see all the things they're doing. And I think sometimes I can feel like intimidated. And so, yeah, that's true. You just unlock something there. I'm comparing myself to my peers in my
Yes.
area. And yeah, it's okay. We chose a different lifestyle. It's fine.
Yeah, you guys are all very industrious compared to the average American.
I should preface too, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of your viewers are stay-at-home moms, but in the Mennonite culture and in our area, like almost everyone is a stay-at-home mom, maybe does a side hustle, work from home. And I think a lot of us would have continued working maybe after having one child, work 1 day a week. If you have your nursing degree, you go, do nursing one weekend a month or something, that kind of thing. But yeah, as far as like, I don't understand that whole culture of going off to work every day and and coming home. So I can only speak from my own experience, I guess. So
Yeah.
if I'm kind of not making sense, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, but I do think a lot of stay-at-home moms struggle finding time just as much as working moms to. I say just as much because I think a lot of it's a mental battle that you play when you're a stay-at-home mom, and so you have to. Sometimes it can be really hard to fill those hours, or you could be struggling with all kinds of things, just in your home all the time.
You're not just the laborer and the employee. You're also the boss and the manager, and you have to kick yourself in the butt and say, let's get going, girl.
Exactly. You have to have a lot of your own get up and go as a stay-at-home mom to get stuff done. And sometimes it's a struggle to find that
especially if you don't have any hard deadlines, which is how I'm able to get my work side of things done, because I have a schedule and I have expectations I need to meet. And so it's just going to have to happen one way or another for the most part.
Yeah. And like, I find that a lot of the things like, deep cleaning my toilets or stuff like that, I have to kind of put a deadline of, well, one, like getting ready for our Sabbath dinner or whatever, or having people over for dinner. And it's like, oh, I know I will deep clean my house when we're having someone over for dinner, so like kind of creating my own forced deadlines in order to get tasks done that I just like will put off for a long time if it's just my family, which, like you said, my family are special people, but for some reason, they don't give me a hard time about the toilets. So I'm not that embarrassed.
Also, something I'd like to graduate myself on to the next level of hosting. Basically the first level, I think, should be like invite friends and family and people who are forgiving. They'll jump in, they'll pitch in, help you out, just to get your feet wet and figure it out. But I feel like I'm kind of stuck in that level. And I need to start looking out, and hospitality is not just reciprocating friendship with friends. I want to be able to invite more random people or people from my church that I don't know well, maybe people that I don't necessarily feel like I would click with, or like we have a lot in common. And just, I think it's really hard to be hosting, doing cooking and things like that, and then also trying to facilitate a conversation and all of that stuff. And that's tough. So I wouldn't encourage anybody, if you've never hosted before, maybe do something you're a little more comfortable with, because you want to have a good experience so that you want to do it again, But then for those of us that are maybe going from beginner to moderate, I need to step into that moderate realm. I feel that conviction sometimes. Hospitality, has a broad range. And I need to step out of my little bubble sometimes.
It does. I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Gospel Comes with a House Key. And it's about this gal is just like, she invites everybody over, all the like strays. And it's so convicting to me right now because I have been in that beginner season of friendship hospitality. It's like, okay, I need to have our neighbors over that like I do not know, I do not connect with, or like you said, like be able to go into church or something like that and find someone who's new there or a stranger and just invite them over. That is a whole new level. But I do think it could be an awesome ministry to open your home.
Yeah. And not everyone is necessarily called to that either. And also there's seasons. Like if you just had a baby like a month or two ago, good grief, like calm down. You'll have time for that again. I feel like this summer has been especially busy for us with some traveling, and we're redoing our patio out back and stuff. And it's starting to bother me. Like, we really haven't had people over in the last little bit, and I'm just so excited to do it again. But I'm not feeling guilty about it because I know I will make up for it. I will be making up for lost time. It was just a season we were in. We were trying to get the grass to grow before we had people come out. Maybe that was just an excuse. I don't know. But, it ebbs and flows, and don't put that guilt on yourself. And also, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm a Mennonite mom and I'm saying this, but you don't have to have food. You don't have to. I mean, I encourage it, at least like a special drink, or, pull out pretzels and cheese or something, but if the food is really what's getting you, invite people over around 7:30 and have brownies and ice cream or something. The food does not have to be the main attraction. I can't believe I'm saying that. That goes against my religion. No, I'm kidding. That's not in the Bible anywhere, but I do think there is something that happens when you're breaking bread together and having a meal together, and it's an activity. I really enjoy that for myself. I want to have food. I enjoy it. I look forward to let's just do something simple. Let's do a little charcuterie board. And then I make it extra because it's just fun. That's my style. But yeah, you know what? One time I had a play date. I invited my friends over and I got bagels from Panera Bread and their different whipped spreads and stuff. And it was on a Tuesday. I planned it on a Tuesday because I knew their bagels is it half price for a baker's dozen? And anyway, I went out and picked those up in the morning, and that's what we had for a snack. And I think I had some fruit and things like that. Sometimes for play dates, people do serve a full meal or something, but I just thought that was so easy and fun. I'm going to do that again sometime, but I haven't since. But it was a genius idea, and I need to think of more twists on that idea.
That is a great idea. I love that idea. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, brownies and ice cream, that's great. So many people don't get invited over to people's houses. And that's something that I'm becoming more and more aware of too. It's not like everybody, I have my friends over and then you have your friends over and everyone has their little pocket of friends. It sounds like you live in a really social community and we've been really blessed with a great community. But that's not everyone's experience. And so I love how you pointed out the seasons. You keep coming back to seasons. And I think that that's something that as mothers, we really have to lean into. It's just this is a season, this is a season. Even if God put something on your heart, it could be for a different season. Maybe you start feeling that urge and you start developing skill sets towards that. Excuse me, but you aren't ready to enact that until a different season of life. Anyways,
I think it took me to my third baby to see the ebbs and flows of seasons and oh yeah, it's such a short time after, I won't feel so awful that long. It's just a short time after the baby's born. I'll be ready to have people over again soon. Or when the school year starts, yes, it's gonna be a couple weeks where I'm not gonna have a lot of extra capacity, but then it changes and it comes and it goes, and there's certain times of the year that work better for certain types of gatherings and social stuff. Yeah. So you start to see a little more of, and I've done homemaking now for 10 years. And so I've seen the seasons come and go. And it's kind of a pattern, they come and go.
Yes. And with the first baby, I think that's partially what makes it so stressful is you're still trying to be the exact same person. Cause you're I can't let go or loosen up because I want to still be doing these things in 5 years instead of realizing oh, this is just a really short time. And
you'll be yourself again back soon. Yeah, you'll be back.
You'll be back. Okay, last question. Sorry. Wow, my voice is over it. Okay, how do you remain motivated when you are overwhelmed?
Well, I am naturally motivated. I feel maybe that's coming from the oldest, but I feel like we can all drum up some motivation if we need to. I do feel overwhelmed sometimes. A lot of times, maybe if I am not, it's always when I didn't prioritize correctly or I got excited about something and bit off more than I could chew. And there is nothing worse than feeling like you're drowning. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm that's when I know I'm overwhelmed. When I just feel oh my word, I can't. I can't. I can't even think. It's not going to all happen. I'm going to have to say no to something. And I think going back and breaking up a commitment, I said I'd be here or I do that, and saying the other week we got back from a trip and I just had so much on my plate. I had to say no to something that I really wanted to do. And I felt really bad about saying no, but I just had to. And it hurts to do that. And you feel like a flake. You feel like you didn't show up. And I think it's good to maybe don't wallow in it, but sit with that pain a little bit and learn from that. And remember, oh, you hate how this feels to say you're going to be there and then you're not. Say you're going to do this and then you're 2 weeks late on it or whatever. Because I think with time, I'm slowly getting better. I take a rest day on Sundays. I don't do work. And so sometimes on Sundays, I'll have all that motivation. I'm so excited for a new week. I'll like plan out my schedule. There's a gap here. I could fit something in here and I will fill up everything. Literally on Sunday, I just decided I'm going to can peaches on Thursday because I need to can something and I haven't canned anything yet. And it's peach season. I'm just going to do a small batch, it'll be fine. And I got up on Monday and I'm thinking to myself, maybe if it happens, great, but let's just push it off till the next week. Sometimes I'll be too ambitious, I guess is what I'm saying. But yeah, having to say no to things that you've already committed to should happen very rarely and less, I feel like, over time. And it is painful. And I think it should be because, we committed to something and now we're not going to be able to do it. But it's also, it feels so good to take something off your plate that is not as important as the things you are saying yes to. It does not feel good saying no to your family and dumping your children off at a babysitter again so you can get that thing done that you said you would do. And you're just doing everything half well. That's an awful feeling too. So hopefully you don't have to say no and back out too much, but at the same time, you got to know your place. You got to know when you've overreached and overstepped and feel that pain and then try not to do it too frequently and try not to do it again anytime soon.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is like a very dramatic example, but I picture like it's better to say no up front, right? That's more ideal. It's just like be able to say no to the opportunity before. But if you have to say no to the opportunity after you've already committed, it's still better than following through with it. Sometimes I picture like it's better to like break up when you're still dating, but it's still better to break up when you're engaged than like get married to the wrong person, Like it's always still better to say no to something that's not right, even though it's more painful down the road. But like you said, when you sit with it, you'll be more motivated to say no up front. I have a trouble with overcommitting too. So
I want to do it all. Like, it's so wonderful. And like, you get an opportunity that's like, I'll maybe never get this again. I got to say yes. And yeah, that's when it's better to pray about it a little bit first. And then you get the text and you pray about it and then you forget about the text and then you never respond. And then you're like, oh dear, I didn't respond and you left sitting there on the phone. So yeah, we're all learning. It's a learning process. I would not claim to be an expert.
But I do think that's very good advice. It's just like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to say no, even when it hurts, to be able to prioritize the right things. Megan, thank you so much for being on here today. I really appreciate you using your hours of your special time here when you get work done to jump on the podcast with me. It means so much. Can you tell people real quick where they could find you? I know you mentioned you have a planner. Where can they find that? Where can they find all your things?
Yes. Okay. So Megan Fox Unlocked is my YouTube channel, and I post on there every Thursday a homemaking video or just lifestyle. Sometimes it's chit chats. Most of the time it's like a day in the life type of vlog, week in my life. I like to do modest fashion and things like that. And then I also on Mondays post every other Monday, me and my cousin put up a Honey, I'm Homemaker episode, which is a podcast format. You can watch the video or you can just listen to it while you're working. And then my website is meganfoxunlocked.com. And on there, I have a small, I guess we can call it boutique, but everything on there is handmade by local, mostly Mennonite moms. I actually have one lady from Oklahoma, but most of them are very local. I will actually drive around and pick up their goods and stuff. Sometimes I work with them to design things. So they all have a specific feel. If you like my taste, you'll probably like everything on there. And if you don't, then you'll probably just want to skip and pass on. But yeah, we have a lot of fun like gift items. I have designed a planner that works. I think I called it the Block It Off planner. And I've sold so many of them and they're super guilt-free because they're not expensive and they're not dated. So you can pick it up and whenever you need to and use it. So yeah, that's all on meganfoxunlocked.com. And I love shining a light on all those homemaking handy moms on there. They're doing a great job. So I'm also on Instagram as well, Megan Fox Unlocked.
Awesome. So I will link all of that down below, so it's real easy for people to click and find you. But thank you again so much for jumping on here today. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, it was so fun. I've learned a lot about motherhood and myself, and thank you. I feel like I'm better because of this conversation.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go buy water bottles for all my kids. So
okay, you do that.